Almost ready. La-di-da. About 3 minutes. What? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here he is. Another great Alabama Music Scene TV. Listen, I was talking to Lance Gardner a while ago on Facebook, and he tells me that Handshake Promise is at Midnight Special both nights this weekend. Midnight Special is one of my sponsors, y'all. Go see them. You won't see a better band than Handshake Promise. And next Saturday, they'll be at Gold Diggers out there in Double Springs, Alabama. Yeah, old Lance, me and Lance was talking about that. He was going to come and be on live with me, but he said he couldn't get here in time. So I said, we'll do it next time. And I appreciate everybody that helped me out and came by and seen me at my tent Saturday at the Frog Festival, especially Nathan. Nathan, man, you're a lifesaver, man. Appreciate what you did for me. And got somebody from Trustful watching out there. Hey, Angela. Yeah. And Jackie. Lord, I've known Jackie forever, man. And Deborah down there in Cordova. And old Bobby Bertram, man. You talking about a cool singer, man. Old Bobby can sing some songs, man. So, now don't forget, I'm fixing to play you a Halloween show from way back in 2014. I think that last one I did last week was 2015. I said 2014, but it was 2015. Well, here's one even further than that, 2014, because it says it on it. That's how I know. And Holly, my good host Holly, was in that. She was dressed up and everything. Now, don't forget, when you watch this, don't forget that it's from 2014. So if I announce any kind of shows or anything like that, disregard them. Just watch the show. I've done watched it because it was scary. We tell some stories on there. Holly was dressed up. It's a good show. And, man, I ain't going to waste no more time, man. Here we go. Watch that show.
Alabama Music Scene TV. Come on in this happy place. We're one big family. We got jokes and fun and sing-alongs, some for you to see. It's Alabama Music Scene TV. Yeah. Yes, it is. Alabama. Do it, Farrell. Alabama.
Well, it's time for another Alabama Music Scene Halloween show. I do not like doing these things. I already hear things out in these woods here. It's very spooky. You know, I don't like doing these, you know. Do y'all believe in ghosts and goblins? Well, you know, the house I live in, sometimes me and my son, we hear it breathing sometimes. It creeps and it makes all kind of sounds. It ain't good. You know, they got to be spirits in that house. They probably spirits in these woods right here. But anyway, I'm gonna give you Holly here and let her tell you what's coming up on today's show. Come on.
We're going to some pretty scary places this week. We have haunted houses, graveyards, woods. We have monsters, skeletons, jack-o'-lanterns. Stay right there. We'll be right back. to film a very good band called Horizon. Do you like ghost stories? Here's a true one from Blount County, Alabama. Susan and Ned were driving through a wooded, empty section of highway. Lightning flashed, thunder roared, the sky went dark in the torrential downpour. "We'd better stop," said Susan. Ned nodded his head in agreement. He stepped on the brake, and suddenly the car started to slide on the slick pavement. They plunged off the road and slid to a halt at the bottom of an incline. Pale and shaking, Ned quickly turned to check if Susan was all right. When she nodded, Ned relaxed and looked through the rain-soaked windows. "I'm going to see how bad it is," he told Susan, and went out into the storm. She saw his blurry figure in the headlight, walking around the front of the car. A moment later, he jumped in beside her, soaking wet. "The car's not badly damaged, but we're hill-deep in mud," he said. "I'm going to have to go for help." Susan swallowed nervously. There would be no quick rescue here. He told her to turn off the headlights and lock the doors until he returned. Axe Murder Hollow. Although Ned hadn't said the name aloud, they both knew what he had been thinking when he told her to lock the car. This was the place where a man had once taken an axe and hacked his wife to death in a jealous rage over an alleged affair. Supposedly, the axe-wielding spirit of the husband continued to haunt this section of road. Outside the car, Susan heard a shriek, a loud thump, and a strange gurgling noise, but she couldn't see anything in the darkness. Frightened, she shrank down in her seat. She sat in silence for a while, and then she noticed another sound. Bump, bump, bump. It was a soft sound, like something being blown by the wind. Suddenly, the car was illuminated by a bright light. An official-sounding voice told her to get out of the car. Ned must have found a police officer. Susan unlocked the door and stepped out of the car. As her eyes adjusted to the bright light, she saw it. Hanging by his feet from the tree next to the car was the dead body of Ned. His bloody throat had been cut so deeply that he was nearly decapitated. The wind swung his corpse back and forth so that it thumped against the tree. Bump, bump, bump. Susan screamed and ran towards the voice and the light. As she drew close, she realized that the light was not coming from a flashlight. Standing there was the glowing figure of a man with a smile on his face and a large, solid, and definitely real axe in his hands. She backed away from the glowing figure until she bumped into the car. "Playing around when my back is turned," the ghost whispered, stroking the sharp blade of the axe with his fingers. "You've been very naughty." The last thing she saw was the glint of the axe blade in the eerie, incandescent light.
Lee's Family Restaurant and Dinner Theater. Delicious dinner menus. Served by Lee's friendly staff. Lee's also has wonderful shows with gospel quartets and impersonators from Memory Gardens straight from Pigeon Forge. And every Tuesday, karaoke from 6 o'clock till 9 p.m. Call for takeouts or info on shows. 205-648-4461.
From the studio of AMSTV, you never know who might show up. What do you do every day, Snoop?
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
Oh no.
Lee's Family Restaurant and Dinner Theater is going to be having a very special Halloween karaoke on October the 31st, so don't miss that. Me and George have came to this old spooky house in Nectar, and people say it's haunted. I hadn't really seen a ghost yet, but I've been keeping my eye out, so you have to come check the house out and see if you can find one. Here's the Horizon Band again.
Different members. Long-haired guy, bald-headed guy there, they ain't with this group anymore. They're still a Horizon. Matter of fact, he sent me a text a while ago. They're playing on 278 there by the General Island. But there's just two of these members right here still in the band. So they just still are a Horizon, just not this band. I want to get that perfectly cleared out.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you need some awesome pictures taken, call Classic Photography. He's really, really good. Oh, Lord.
Hey, Alabama Music Scene here. I'm running up here to Decatur because I also got a photography business I do. And I'm going up here to shoot some pictures at Decatur. And I just wanted to turn the camera on and say hi to y'all. And I hope y'all enjoy all my shows on AMS-TV.com. Hey, I'm going to turn the camera around. Look at it. Woohoo!
What goes? Cackle, cackle, boom. A witch in a minefield.
I'm Kim Tatters, and you're watching the Alabama Music Scene.
I hate clowns. George, I'm gonna get you for this. Here's our video of the week. George, what's wrong?
Campbell's Pharmacy, great customer service. No long waits on drug orders. Campbell's has competitive prices. Same friendly staff each visit. Campbell's takes the majority of third-party insurance plans. Campbell's Pharmacy in Adamsville. Hours 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturday. Closed on Sunday. Call 205-674-3566.
In the AMS studio, this is scary.
Tragedy that recently took place back in the United States. Over the weekend, a massive landslide swept through a tiny town called Oso.
What's my name?
Once again, here they are, Horizon. This is scary. What's old and ugly and goes beep beep? A witch in a traffic jam. What in the world is that? Well, it's almost hunting season and sadly I can't use these, neither can you. So you might want to stop by Steve's Fast Money Lawns in Summerton and pick you up a shotgun. Well, damn.
Hi folks, it's George Williams. I gotta make something right that I done wrong on my last show. Jerry Henry, he does the same thing I do. He pushes Alabama musicians. He is on AlabamaMusicOffice.com, so you need to check it out. And I told him if I ever used any of his videos on his YouTube site that I would put that on my show, and last show I didn't do that. The Road Crew Band was one of his videos, and I want to give him credit because he's the one that shot that video. He goes out and shoots these local musicians just like I do. Love Jerry Henry to death, and I know all you Alabama musicians does too, because we trying to push y'all, we're giving y'all exposure. And last week, Road Crew Band, that was a AlabamaMusicOffice.com video, y'all. Got you, Jerry Henry. Appreciate you letting me use all them videos.
Here they are, once more, Horizon. That ain't very scary. I got a little kick and a tickle out of this video.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
He did the
Well, all right. How'd you enjoy that? That was from 2014. So, you know, part of them Horizon ain't there. I don't know if y'all heard me or not a while ago. Part of that band ain't there no more. Horizon is still around, but that ain't the same band, okay? So, you know, you can still see Horizon. It just ain't going to be that band that you just saw. You know, me and my host, we get out and we go meet all kind of people, man. And we do this show, and it's funny sometimes trying to do the show and you can't say certain words and stuff. We did a show with Sally Gentry, as Teddy Gentry of Alabama's daughter. And we went up to Fort Payne and did that. And while we was out to Coo Carroll's house and did the intros, and man, it was something. So here's me and Coo Carroll trying to do intros. Why, lady, why? We did several. Everything stopped. I'm not getting no bandwidth. Let me try that one more time, okay? I'll just shut this down and try it this way.
Just blank.
There we go. Good trip. It was good meeting Sally and her husband John.
Oh, they're just so much fun and just so personable.
Yep. So I wish I knew what was coming up next where we could introduce it. Do you know? All right, it was hard to do, them bloopers. It's hard to... Sally Gentry. Who is Sally Gentry?
She is Teddy Gentry of Alabama.
That's
no,
right.
I messed that all up.
Man, it's going to be a good show. God. That's
And I'm doing good. See what kind of dance this girl... Man, you gotta see what this girl does next. George, I was watching a movie the other day, and it was given the trailer, and it says this movie is coming out.
It is? What's the name of it?
I don't know, I couldn't remember, but they said it was coming out.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes, man, doing this show. Man, you get tongue-tied and everything, forget what you're going to say. Listen, I want to tell you, tomorrow night is Dora's region game, and they've got to win this game to get in the region. I mean, get in the playoffs. So this is a very important game. So all of you Bulldog fans, you need to go down to Dora tomorrow night. They play in Winfield, and pack the stands out, okay? Because we need everybody there to get back in the playoffs, you know what I mean? And the next show is going to be my Halloween show that I I ain't even thought about doing yet, but it's going to be at my Halloween show for 2017, okay? And it'll probably be some on the Halloween party that Lee's Restaurant is having for karaoke, so I'll be taping some of them costumes and stuff like that down there. So that'll be my Halloween thing. Do y'all know who Jimmy Johnson is? Y'all know the song Sweet Home Alabama? That verse, that third verse in there, fourth verse somewhere in there, it says Muscle Shoals has got its swampers. They've been known to pick a song or two. Yes, they do. Well, the Swampers, if you don't know who they are, the main guy is Jimmy Johnson. He was the engineer, the guitar player, and they are on so many hit records you wouldn't believe. I went up to Muscle Shoals Sound Studio a couple years ago and interviewed him. And y'all hadn't seen the full interview yet. You know, I kind of chopped it off. Right now, I'm going to show you the full interview with Jimmy Johnson, one of the Swampers, y'all. I'm here with Jimmy Johnson and the famed Jackson Highway 3614. You've been in here a lot, hadn't you, Jimmy?
Spent 9 years here.
9 years.
From starting in '69.
A lot of music come out of here.
More than I want to think about.
Now, I read your bio, and it called you an engineer, a producer, and several other names.
Well, you know, in our business, if you want to stick around for a while, you got to wear a lot of hats. And it's also the only way you can really make a living, because when one part of your career is kind of down, the other takes up for it, you know.
Yeah. What was the who came up with the Leonard Skinner saying that little verse in there, Sweet Home Alabama? Who came up with that?
Well, actually, Ronnie Van Sant wrote the song. And they wrote the song, and he stuck a verse in there. I think it's the fourth verse. And he kind of immortalized us in that song. And I remember they called me right after they cut it, and they used to call me Uncle Jimmy. They said, Uncle Jimmy, we cut a record about you guys. I said, well, that's nice. I appreciate that. I had no idea, and they didn't either, what it was going to be.
Now, your guitar playing is on so much music right now. That's right, ain't it?
Well, it's we did about, you know, a long time. We did about 50 albums a year. And we did that for about 38 years. And then two longer than that even, but that was real regular for that you know, that period.
Yeah, when y'all left Fame over there and Jerry Wexler called you, you didn't have no problem going, did you?
Well, actually, we called him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Wexler, as opposite of what the movie had said, we just told him we were leaving and had bought our own studio, which we did, and nobody paid for it. He did not pay for it.
Right.
And all we wanted from him was the business that was going to be left that we had created at the other studio. And he was going to shut the door and have an exclusive thing with Capitol Records. Well, that'd be crazy for us not to try to keep the business we built up. And so when we opened the studio, we were booked for a year. This studio. Every day for a year.
What kind of guy was Wilson Pickett to work with?
He was fine. He was a little kind of on the edge. he grew up in Prattville, Alabama. And I imagine growing up in Prattville, kind of doing a lot of farm type work, a guy as talented as he was, he was on the edge. And I'm sure he never was treated right until he moved up to New Jersey, and which is just over the river there from New York City. And he spent the rest of his life there. And he is probably one of the most talented guys we ever worked with. And he did everything. He could write. One of the greatest singers I've ever worked with. And I remember when Jerry brought him to Fame. We were at Fame when we did those early Pickett records. And he came in, and I think he wasn't sure that he was in the right place because he saw some cotton fields around there, and he wasn't really tore up about going picking any cotton, you know. And so, but by the time we worked with him the first day, I think he made a statement. He said he knew it within the first day or two of working with us that he had a home, and he did.
They gonna start renovations on here right after Labor Day. Who's gonna be doing the engineering and producing?
It's gonna be just probably anybody. They can bring their own engineer. We'll have to provide. When I say we, I'm not really involved here anymore.
Okay.
I mean, you know, when you get 72 years old, you're not too involved anymore. But we will always, you know, be for trying to help this place as much as we can, David and I. And we're the only two of the Swampers that are still working so far. And who knows, tomorrow I might not be. But we're going to try to keep on going a few more years.
Out of all the people that came out of here, who is your favorite to work with?
Well, that's an interesting question. It's just there have been so many, I'd have to name you about 50 of my favorite ones. And I couldn't give you one because, you know, I could maybe name you one that's a little more famous.
Oh.
But as far as enjoying working with them, they're all pretty, I mean, we didn't have any difficulty, I remember, except with one artist. And I mean, when they came here for a hit.
Yeah.
And they didn't come here to tell us how to do it. They came here and we actually produced and cut the record for them. And we basically, you know, told them what key to sing it in. We didn't tell them what song to sing. They brought that.
Yeah.
But we would tell them about tempos and stuff like that. And I know most singers try to sing too high. And we would catch these artists straining to reach a note. And we'd say, you know, we got to drop that down a step or two there. And we would. We would drop the key down to when they could really let it out, you know.
Yeah.
And but that became basically what we did, and we tried to become, instead of a session band, we tried to become their band when we was recording with them. And I think we kind of accomplished that.
I noticed where there's several musicians came in and do Spooner and Lord, several went through, and it was y'all was the second rhythm section, right? Over at Fame.
Yeah, we was the second one that was there.
Now, what happened to the first? I mean, they went.
Well, in 1964, the guys from the original, they called it then the Fame Gang. The name Muscle Sound hadn't been invented yet till we named this studio. It had never been called the region or the area. And so the Must Show sound wasn't really born until we opened our this studio. But even though a lot of people call it the Fame sound, or a lot of people compared us to Memphis and Stax, you know.
There's a lot of musicians trying to make it now, young musicians. What advice would you give them?
Well, the first advice I'd tell, depending what they wanted to do, you know. In our case, we didn't want to be stars. None of us did. We just wanted to play on records.
Yeah.
And so I guess you'd say we wanted to be session players. And we never had the first desire to want to go out and play live anywhere. When we played here, the only people that would hear you was the engineer and the producer.
Yeah.
Because the artist was usually out there with us.
Yeah.
And so it's an experience to learn how to play to just one or two people, because you got to play to them like you're at Carnegie Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned how to do that. All session guys know how to play to like one person, the engineer or whoever's in the control room, but play as if our life depended on it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the whole kind of secret of how we learned how to cut hits.
I noticed, I was watching a YouTube video a while ago of Travis Womack and Percy Sledge and Maxwell Russell.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed Travis was asked that question. He told them to lock themselves in a room and do their own thing.
Yeah, yeah. The main thing is just I suggest that a guy wants to, or a girl wants to be an artist, they learn how to write songs.
I heard that a lot.
Because a lot of times the hardest thing to do is find a hit.
Yeah.
Hit song, and if you can write a hit song, you're way ahead of the game.
All right, about all I got, and I appreciate it, Jimmy.
I'm glad to do it.
And I hope you big success on. You're retired now, right?
Not yet. I'm still working, producing.
Okay.
And still playing. Instead of 50 albums a year, I do about 10 now.
Okay.
And but I'm still playing, and actually I'm doing more live stuff than I ever did since the movie came out. You know, and but before that, we almost never went out live.
What I noticed Rick Hall had a book out, hadn't he?
Oh yeah.
And how old is he? About 80?
He's 83.
Woo.
He's turned 83, I think, just in the last week or so.
Okay. I've been trying to get an interview with him.
He's amazingly he don't look that.
Really?
At all. And I hope he lives to be 100.
Was he is intense, wasn't he?
Well, there was times, but you know, if you had been brought up like he had. See, I worked with him. I was his first employee. As an assistant, I was basically his secretary, his gopher.
Mm-hmm.
Go for this, go for that. I've even been the assistant to the gopher. You know, that's how I started. And when I started, I was going to UNA. It was called Florence State Teachers College then. And I would come off of about 12 noon and come to work for him until about 6 or so.
Okay.
And but I would assist him as an engineer, and that's basically how I got into engineering records, by learning from him.
How long is it going to take them to renovate this place?
That's going to be a real good question. See, they gotta secure this building. You see those poles out there?
Uh-huh.
Them are all coming out. They wasn't here back when we got the place. And somebody put them up, I think, when they did one of the roof, when they fixed one of the roofs. And so, but they're going to have metal up in the top that'll support all of it. But this building is only 25 foot wide. And it's kind of amazing what went on here. And we had a basement almost the length, I'd say it went up to that door right there. And we had a lot of offices downstairs. And we had a bar down
there. I've been talking to a girl that's from this area. She said when she was like 14 years old, she used to come in here during section, just sit around and.
I guess it had to.
She
was according to who they were.
She was like red-headed now.
Yeah, we'd had to known her as being somebody that wouldn't try to make a lot of noise and create attention. You know.
She didn't seem like it.
Yeah. We had a few, but one thing we had a lot of was police coming in here.
Really?
Yeah, they wanted to come and meet all the artists.
Oh.
When we first got here, I remember the first week we were here and we was kind of working on getting it in shape. They came to the back door one night and they wanted to know if we had a dance license. They heard the music. We said, no, this is not a dance hall, this is a recording studio. And they said, recording station, what's that? And so they found out, and all the different shifts would stop by. And I remember back at that time, this area was dry. We had no liquor sales in the area, right?
Uh-huh.
And so every time somebody'd come here, they'd want to have a beer or you know, buy a bottle, and there just wasn't none to be had. We had to tell them, you got to bring it, because we don't even have it at the convenience stores, you know. And so what we finally did, we bought a beer machine and put it in the bar downstairs. And we finally realized that why we didn't get arrested. And we found out that as long as you didn't sell it, we gave it away.
Yeah.
If you didn't sell it, there was no law against having it. They ain't that funny. And so, but we'd send some of our gophers once a week to the line and buy us a keg of beer.
This place here, did y'all look for it, or when you found it?
No, actually, Fred Beavis.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever know Fred? Fred Beavis was he was a song director at a Church of Christ over in Florence, but he always loved music, and he decided he wanted to open a studio to cut country music, and that's why he got this place. And I actually saw this building and told him about it. This used to be the Gibson Shade Shop. They made Venetian blinds in here. That was the deal.
Okay.
And Brother Gibson was my preacher over at Southside Baptist Church, where I went to church. You know, and then he later moved to Leome, Tennessee, and got out of it. But after that, the graveyard over here started using to store vaults. You know, those vaults that go down over caskets, big steel vaults, they'd store them in here. But the word got out it was a casket factory, which was never right. There was never a casket in this building. I wouldn't have come in it if it had been. And, but we, it was, I'd say, and then after, you know, we left, it became, do you remember that They had they sold all the stereo equipment and stuff right down here at Powell Electronics. Did you ever know down here, right down the street? Well, first off, I'm trying to remember the name of it. They operated here. Do you remember Lane Sutherland?
Actually, I'm not from here.
Okay.
I'm
Lane
between.
Sutherland runs Sutherland Sight and Sound down there. But their first place of business for him and his brother were here.
Uh-huh.
And then they moved down the street when Mr. Powell made that building available to them. But they had it after we were here for about 10 or 15 years. But they changed the name to, just Lane took, his brother didn't go in with him.
I saw a video too, and it was done over at the Hall of Fame there, and it was you as a little old young boy playing guitar. And it was you, and I think it might have been Spooner was there.
Who was that recently?
I don't know when it was done, but it was at the Hall of Fame.
We did a kid from Leaper's Fork up there around Nashville.
The one I seen, I think he was doing Mustang Sally.
Okay. He is it Jackson Nance? Was that him?
That sounds familiar.
He's 15 years old.
Yeah, he was that young.
And he's a real talented young man, and it looks like he's fixing to be. He's signed a publishing deal already with Warner Chappell. And he's on salary for writing songs in Nashville. And the youngest to ever do that. And I just cut some things on him, some demos for Warner Chappell. And I'm telling you, this kid's going to be something.
Yeah, he was tearing it up.
He looks like Justin Bieber, but he sounds a lot better.
That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
He's a good guitar player.
That Oldsmobile that sits in there, who was it? One of them Burns, Happy Hal Burns.
Yeah.
I used to play with him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, I think he gave us that car.
Yeah, I remember that car, and of course
the bus in there
from Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen an old thing on Alabama, some pictures or something, and that bus is in them
That's their
pictures.
first bus.
Yeah.
And we had to leave one of the walls open to bring that stuff in. And then when we sealed it up,
So it's in there now.
Yeah. There's no engine or even transmission. They just had to roll it in.
Country boy Eddie, when his son went to the Marines, he was looking for a drummer because his son played drums for him on that TV station. He asked me to play, and they have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do that, and he said he'd give me $50 a week. And I said, no.
I don't blame you.
I ain't getting up.
I couldn't have done that. I wouldn't have got up for nobody for that.
Of course, you probably wouldn't play but 4 or 5 songs on the show.
Yeah.
But still, 3 o'clock in the morning, it wasn't worth $50.
That'd be, 5 days a week?
Yeah. But anyway, that's about all I got, Jimmy.
Okay.
Man, I appreciate your time.
All right. I hope I answered the questions all right.
Oh, we got chills when we get in this room here. I've just got I've learned so much about muscle shows now. I just want to keep coming back and interviewing everybody up here. There's a lot of history here.
Well, I guess at the time we didn't know was making any history. We just liked what we were doing, and then when we decided to leave here, we went down the river, and we put in a studio down there.
What's the name of it? Somebody was telling me
it
about
was
it.
Must Show Sound on the River, and it was we had 31,000 square feet down there. You imagine what we got here.
Is it the one somebody else bought and started something else?
No, it was a naval reserve that was down on the river.
They started doing hip hop or something. Which one was it?
We call it Cypress.
Yeah, Cypress Moon is down there now. That was a movie company. Bought it from us.
Okay.
But that it's not been a studio though since we were there. When Malaco sold that studio, they sold all the equipment out of it.
Maxwell Russell was telling me, I think he's seen me looking at here one day. It wasn't open, we was just outside. And he was telling me about another one that was, he pointed to the left down there. Go to red light and turn left or something.
Mm. Down this way? There was one called Widget right down here, and then they're on Broadway. You know where Broadway Street is, right down there? David Johnson had a studio down there he built.
That's when it goes over to the...
But it's not a studio anymore. And because when he sold it, I forgot, some company bought it and made it something else. No relation to me.
Oh.
We were friends, but we weren't kin.
All right, that's all I got.
Okay.
I appreciate it, Jimmy.
All righty. Oh.
That was a very interesting interview. My brother from another mother went with me on that trip, and he said that was one of the best trips me and him ever did. We went over an hour just a little bit, but I still got a little bit to tell you here. Mr. Steve Dawkins went with me, man. We had a ball up there, and there's a funny thing about this interview. I mean, it was a cool interview, and I wanted to show y'all the whole interview we had. But after this interview, I cut the camera off, and we walked out into the this interview was done in the control room, and we walked out into the studio, and Jimmy was still telling stories and everything. And on the way home, I told my brother Steve, I said the best interview was after I cut the camera off. And it was, man. We had a good time with Jimmy Johnson there, and he's having a rough time right now with his health right now. So y'all pray for him, and don't forget to go to the Dora High School football game tomorrow night. They play in a region game, and we need to pack those stands out and holler just as loud as you can holler. Let's get that 12-man going. You know what I mean? Next show is going to be my Halloween show, and it'll probably be put out probably in November sometime. So look for it. We on every Thursday at 6 o'clock. Every Thursday at 6 o'clock. So y'all check us out. We're going to have something new and different every time we do this show. That was the big Jimmy Johnson there. And this interview was done actually before they renovated the studio again, and they've got it renovated now, and you can take tours, and it's a good tour. You can ask my buddy Ken about that. They do a good tour there. I've done took it like 3 or 4 times. Last time I took it, I had to pay. That was unusual. I usually get in there free, but this time I had to pay. But I wanted to do it anyway because I wanted to look in that Leonard Skinner tour date book they had in there, and it's a really good tour. If you get up that way, go see it, and also go see the Alabama Music Hall of Fame and all fame. Man, you can make a day out of it. You can make 2 days out of that area up there. So go do that. By all means, go take that tour and them things. Full of, man, that was a good one, man. I wish I'd have taped after we cut the camera off. I wish I'd have taped that part of it because it was a good interview, and I appreciate my brother Steve going with me that day, and we had a good time up there. Yeah, we did. Went over about 5 minutes, but I don't care. You know why? This is my show. Okay? Watch us next Thursday. AMS-production.com. That's where it's going to be, y'all. We're going to come up with something different every time. That was a good interview with Jimmy Johnson, y'all. So see y'all next time, man. Alabama Music Scene TV.